Good morning. It is 5:15 in the morning. I probably look like a busted up radiator right now, and frankly, I feel like a busted up radiator right now. Specifically, one of those real old New York City radiators that like randomly knocks. Like it just sounds like there's a ghost in the wall that's been condemned to building the Transcontinental Railroad for all eternity. Today, I'm flying to Indianapolis for an audition. It's my first ever out-of-state audition, the first time that I'm having to get on a plane to go to an audition. And my phone is telling me that my Uber is down the block, so see you later. I just landed in Indianapolis. I've never been here. I technically have been to Indiana. Like I drove across it on the way to Iowa and on the way back when I was at Des Moines Metro Opera. But anyway, I had to walk pretty far to go to baggage claim because my carry-on wound up getting gate checked because we were on a really small plane. And I called a hotel this morning and I can get an early check-in. They said it just can't be earlier than noon. It's like 11:30 exactly right now. So I'm gonna sit down for a sec and then call an Uber and go over to the hotel. I did actually manage to get like a little bit of a nap on the plane. It wasn't that long of a flight. It was like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I just like flat out have barely slept this week because today is my 4th audition this week. I had an audition yesterday and the day before that, and today, yesterday, day before that, and Monday. I also am not entirely sure what day of the week it is. But anyway, like when I booked travel, I was like, oh, maybe like I'll land there and I'll like take a walk and like look at stuff for a little bit. I don't think I'm gonna do that. Again, I think I'm gonna just go to the hotel, rest, get ready, sing my audition, and then like just decide after that. My audition is at 6:30 tonight, so I have plenty of time. Like I hate being in a time crunch anyway, but like I have plenty of time. But yeah, my flight back to New York tomorrow doesn't leave until the afternoon, so maybe like tomorrow morning I'll just like walk around and try to see some stuff while I'm here. But yeah, I'm gonna call an Uber. So I'm probably gonna cut this out, but in case I don't, I did that chair roll thing like 10 times. So I'm in my hotel room right now. It's like 12:30-ish. I think I am gonna order lunch. I'm not particularly hungry right now, but I don't want to eat too close to my audition because being a singer is so much fun. When your instrument is your literal body, you have to do strange things frequently. But anyway, thankfully I was able to check in early, so I will be able to kind of rest and have some downtime before I have to get ready and go over there. I'm pretty sure I already said it, but this is my 4th audition this week, but it is my 9th of the season. 9th? This audition season has been insane thus far. Insane in a good way, but insane to the point where like it's only mid-October and I have done 8 or 9 auditions already, and like to the point where I'm losing track of the number. Seriously, like this audition season has been built different in that I'm getting auditions at companies that have never heard me. Indianapolis has never heard me. Even just this week I did an audition for Glimmerglass where I think I'd been rejected like 4 times. I don't know. This is the first time I've sung for them. That was actually the first time I've been nervous in an audition in years. I used to have really horrendous audition anxiety, and just auditioning a ton kind of got that out of me because, I mean, if you do something repeatedly, you just kind of get desensitized to it. So now I don't so much get nervous. Like I feel like adrenaline, but I don't feel like nervous or really kind of get intimidated by it. But yesterday I did. Like I was sitting in the little waiting area and my brain is just going like, you're singing for Glimmerglass, holy shit, you're singing for Glimmerglass, this is happening, ah! But anyway, the overall TLDR is that things are going quite well, like suspiciously well this audition season. I am hoping that this manifests into contracts, but you never know. I'm pretty sure I also said earlier that this is my first time auditioning outside of New York. Now that I think of it, that's not entirely true. I mean, it is, but it's not. Anyway, when I was at Des Moines Metro Opera, like a lot of young artist programs, like a lot of summer festivals, they have an industry day where all of the apprentices go and sing an audition for a bunch of opera company GMs, managers, things like that, artistic directors, whatever. So technically I have done an audition in the state of Iowa. But anyway, back to this audition season being just built different, and in a good way. I'm not complaining, I'm so not complaining, but built different to the point where my brain has just been exploding. The reason that I can even do all of these auditions. I mean, yes, it's great to get, you know, past the pre-screen and get to the second round, and I'm so like not tooting my own horn here. I hope it doesn't come off like that. I'm a soprano, but like not that much of one. The reason that I can basically shotgun apply to like everything that's open on Yap Tracker and Resonance and all of the other sites, but mainly Yap Tracker, is because if those companies decide to give me an audition, like I don't have to pay for travel. I live in New York City, so I can audition about as much as my body can handle and as these companies want to hear me. So for me, the average audition day is me just hopping on the train and going and singing. And like by the train, I mean the subway or the Long Island Railroad, and like not Amtrak, not like long distance. But anyway, I hop on the regular old commuter train, go sing my little tunes, change out of my audition clothes, hop back on the train, and then just go to work. That's another thing, because my work schedule is kind of like flipped from what most people have. I start teaching roughly at like 3 or 4 p.m. every day because I teach private voice and piano. So I start teaching when the kids are all out of school. So I'm free during the day, but then I work like afternoon to the evening. But because of that, like I take all of my auditions at like 1 p.m., noon, or earlier than that. So over the past few years, I've become very good at doing what are considered kind of early morning auditions. Like I'm not freaked out or even really bothered by a 10 a.m. audition, which is weird, but also I'm kind of proud of that. So even today's audition being at 6:30 p.m. feels like the height of luxury for me. Today's audition is at Indianapolis Opera, like at their location. So the reason that I am here at all in Indiana is because they do not audition in New York. And again, I feel the need to hammer this home. The reason that I even was like, yeah, sure, I'll book a flight, I'll book a hotel to fly, you know, however many hundreds of miles from New York City to Indianapolis, is because I spend comparably little on transit and everything for auditions. So it doesn't really, like, because I'm spending, you know, basically subway fare or LIRR fare, like, for each audition, the costs don't rack up nearly as quickly or nearly as high as a lot of other singers that have to travel all the time. I hope that made sense, because I don't want to say it again to try to make it make sense. But anyway, honestly, for me, this is kind of exciting. I think it's kind of fun that I get to have, like, a little adventure. Like, it's for an audition, and I do auditions all the time, but I get to have a little adventure and do an audition in like a place that I've never been, and maybe see a little bit of a place I've never been. I'm here for the day, I'm here for tonight, and then I'm flying back to New York tomorrow afternoon. But anyway, because this is kind of a novelty for me, I'm like, oh, it's cool, like, yay, this is exciting. All that being said, I am quite tired because, again, this is my 4th audition this week. I did get a little bit of a power nap on the plane. I did take an involuntary nap on the train yesterday. So yesterday, after I sang for Glimmerglass, I hopped on the subway to go back to Penn, get off the subway at Penn, and then I just go look at the board to see what the next train going to unnamed town on Long Island is, so I could go to work. Anyway, I looked at the board, and weirdly, for this unnamed town on Long Island, the next train wasn't leaving for 30 minutes. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go get something to eat. I'm gonna go get myself some post-audition dairy. So I went over and got myself some pizza. So I get my little post-audition dairy slices of pizza, and I'm like, I'm gonna just sit here and have it here. By here, I mean like the pizza place on the like subway concourse area of Penn Station, not about whatever. I decided I was gonna sit there and eat my food instead of like just taking it to go and going on the train with it, because again, I had a half hour, and at Penn they don't announce the track until like 30 seconds before the train's gonna leave. So I'm sitting down, I'm having my food, and then my phone goes off and says, hey, this train now boarding on track 19, and it's like 15 minutes before the train is supposed to leave, which does not happen. And fun fact, when my track is called at Penn Station, I don't have a friend in the world, I only have enemies. So I literally got up, pizza in hand, and booked it down to the train. I need to add, it's the middle of the day. It is anti-rush hour. There's not a lot of people in Penn, but my like instinct is like, the second the track is called, you have to go. So I walk down with my pizza in my hand, like not even in a box, like it's just straight up on the plate. I get on the train, I sit down, put my bag down, have my second slice of pizza, and then I woke up in Queens. I am not kidding. I remember finishing my slice, like folding up my little paper plate so I could like toss it out later. I somehow blinked, opened my eyes, and then I was like, are we at Jamaica? Audition season involuntary naps are They just are. I don't know if they're good, bad, or terrifying, but they are. So yeah, I'm gonna order some lunch and take a rest before I have to get soprano fine. So I just started getting ready, and first of all, I just put my contacts in, and the right one just did not want to go into my eye. It turned itself into a taco like 3 times, and I had to catch it and put it back in and catch it and put it back in. It wanted to sit literally everywhere except where it needs to, on my eyeball. Also, I'd like to point out that I brought my belt box with me. For those of you who don't know, a belt box is a thing that you put on your face like that, and you sing into it, and it damps the sound so that you don't disturb, you know, people around you. And I brought it with me so I could warm up some in my hotel room without disturbing, you know, I don't know if there's someone there or there's someone there, but if there are, I don't want to disturb them, and I'm gonna practice responsible operaing. I don't know if that's even possible. They actually are providing warm-up rooms today at the audition. That's not the norm. I mean, it happens sometimes, but most of the time it doesn't. So they are providing rooms, but I still want to do like most of my warm-up before I go over. But yeah, now it's time for my favorite pre-audition, pre-performance, making very high-pitched loud sounds come out of my face ritual, which is taking forever to do my makeup. One, I'm just not really all that capable of doing my makeup quickly. I've tried. There's like a ceiling on how quickly I can do it, and I'm just never getting past that. And also, frankly, like watching something on Netflix and just taking my sweet time to apply things to my face is just my zen out time. So I'm in the warm-up room, and the monitor was super nice, and I filled out my little rep sheet, and I was like, hey, like, can I just go to any open warm-up room? Like, I know I'm here super early, so I mean, I don't want to like go in there if there's other people who are auditioning, so like all of that. And she was like, no, just like chill, take a breath, like make yourself at home, like you can go to whichever one you want as long as it's open. I'm like the absolute polar opposite of auditioning in New York City. Listen, I love my hometown dearly, but like most of the time they don't even provide a warm-up room, and if they do, like there's exactly one, and like you have to wait and like just kind of get in, get out, like you can't take up any amount of time. Like it's a lot more fast-paced, and I'm used to that, and like that's fine, but like I'm enjoying the change of scenery today. Okay, so we're back. I just need to take a second to say that post-audition just adrenaline brain rot is so extremely real. Please don't ask me to have a coherent thought or just have any level of intelligence within the first 15, 20, a billion minutes after I sing an audition. I was going to change out of my heels back into my sneakers, and I pulled one on, and I go to tighten it, and my shoelace snapped right there on the moment, and I was like, well, I guess I have to wear my heels like all the way back to the hotel. And literally only maybe 30 seconds ago, when I put my bag back down and took my sneakers out to try to look and be like, well, what am I gonna do about this shoelace thing? Because the whole, like, after it snapped, I'm like, where am I gonna buy a pair of shoelaces? Like, this shoelace snap, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm not in New York City, I can't just walk down the street to like a CVS or a Dwayne Reed or whatever and get another pair of shoelaces. Like, can I go to a Target? Where's there a Target? I don't have a car. You know what didn't occur to me until maybe 30 seconds ago? I could, hear me out, tie the damn thing back together. I'll get new shoelaces when I'm home, but because the only shoes I have with me are my heels and these sneakers, I was like, I'm not gonna have shoes to wear to the airport. What do? I could tie it together. I could tie it to itself. Jump scare, it's the next morning. So I recorded a little bit of a recap of yesterday's audition last night, but frankly, it was incoherent. I was really tired. I was still coming down off of just post-audition adrenaline brain rot. And right after I recorded it, I was like, oh, I'll leave it in. It'll be funny because I'm just all over the place and tired. And then I looked over the footage and I'm like, no, you literally, there's no way on earth you could cut that into something that makes even a sliver of sense. So we're trying this again. So TLDR, it went well. I don't think I booked it, but I don't think I had a bad day in the room. They actually did feedback after every audition. I mean, I knew that was gonna happen, but that's really not the norm to get live feedback after an audition. I've seen it in the past where a company will be like, oh, like if you want written feedback on your audition, we'll send it to you after the fact. And even that's a relative rarity. I think I requested feedback on an audition that I just bombed the hell out of in 2019, and like, they just eviscerated me and my entire bloodline in that feedback. And I never requested feedback from any audition ever since. Hi everybody, Editing Amy just chiming in with a quick point of clarification. I just want to make it very clear, it is not a bad thing if a company does not offer a live feedback session. Again, it is really, really not the norm. In fact, the only other time I have had a live feedback session after an audition is the Met competition. And truly the reason that most companies don't do this is because of logistics. It's just not really feasible. If you were to do a 5 to 10 minute live feedback session after every live audition, you would effectively double the length of each audition slot. And by that same token, you would only be able to hear half the people because all the auditions are twice as long. And then on top of that, studio space is incredibly expensive, especially in New York City. And then on top of that, a lot of opera companies do audition tours across multiple cities. So the point is, it was nice, it was a cool experience to have, but it doesn't like make any companies lesser or less invested in the art form for not doing it. I still have a little bit of post-audition brain rot, but it might be from having 4 auditions this week. How many times have I said I had 4 auditions this week in this vlog? But having 4 auditions this week, one of which was not in New York. But anyway, like, I had a good experience. Again, I don't think I booked it, but I had a good experience. I don't regret anything. And frankly, it was a really nice change of scenery. Auditioning in New York, again, I can't complain, but you do audition in the same few rooms over and over and over again. So during audition season, especially once you kind of really get into the swing of things, one of the things that, at least for me, I have to combat is just going on autopilot. Because yes, you're auditioning for different companies, different seasons, different all of this, different competitions, and it's a different panel every time, but you're in the same rooms all the time, and you're singing largely the same rep all the time. So you're singing the same-ish rep all the time, and you're singing it in the same 3, 4, 5 rooms all the time. So as a result, you kind of wind up like looking in the same places or doing the same gestures or using the same focal points. And you know what like the acoustic situation is in all of those rooms, so you know what you sound like and what it feels like to sing in all of those rooms. So all of this just kind of combined, like you have to just be cognizant that like you're treating every performance as an individual one and not going on autopilot. So frankly, it was great to just sing in like a completely new room. And sometimes that's intimidating because when you're singing in a new room, you're like, oh my God, is it gonna be dry? Am I like, what's it gonna be like? But this was fine. It was in their rehearsal hall, so it was actually in a really big space. So as a performer or a singing actor or whatever, it was just nice to like be in a different space and again, get kind of a break from that routine I'm so used to. All that being said, I am deceased at this point. My hair, exhausted. I have washed my hair 3 times this week, which if you have straight hair, that's not weird for you. I don't. For all of my curly friends, you know that that is ridiculous. I have had 3 wash days this week. That is a feat of strength in and of itself. My skin is crying at this point because of the repeated full audition sopranification makeup. I mean, like, I like getting glammed up. I like makeup and all of that stuff, but also my skin is just like, could you please, a break? Water! I'm about to do so much skincare the second that my plane touches down at LaGuardia, or well, once I get home. Once I am home, the skincare will be in full effect. The only skincare items I could take with me on this trip, given it was only overnight, but like, the only things I could take were face wash and moisturizer because the TSA has that damn liquids rule. And here's what pissed me off. My liquids bag was a feat of structural engineering. I stressed about this for literal days. I had to find travel sizes of things. I had to make decisions about what would make the bag and what would have to stay home. I said out loud on multiple occasions to no one, God damn it, it's a liquid. Because you don't realize how many things in your daily routine are liquid until you try to travel with just a carry-on through TSA. Side note, I thought someone knocked on my door. I think it was just the person in the room over like opening and closing their door, and it scared the life out of me. I have to check out in like 45 minutes. I'm already all packed up. I'm just letting my camera batteries charge a little bit, and obviously recording this before I go, but like I'm ready to go. I'm gonna be out by checkout time, like following the rules, but I thought someone was like housekeeping was coming to my door to be like, yo, get out. Anyway, so a lot of the things that TSA considers a liquid make sense, like, you know, body wash, toiletries, various things like that. What I hadn't really considered is that there are quite a few makeup items that they consider as a liquid. Some of them make sense, some of them made me want to punch the sky. Setting spray, okay, that's absolutely a liquid. Foundation, yeah, that's a liquid. Concealer, sure. Mascara, huh. Eyeliner, what? Like liquid, like an eyeliner pen. It's a liquid. Brow gel, okay. But anyway, this is all to say that when I went through security at LaGuardia, I had my bag ready. She was packed, she was stuffed to the gills, but she is a feat of structural engineering. I got everything that I needed in there. And really, truly, thank God I was only here overnight, because if I had to bring like shampoo, conditioner, the rest of my hair products, it would have all been over. But I did it, I got it to work, and then no one checked it. The last time I was on a plane, you had to take that little liquids bag out. Apparently, you don't have to do that anymore. So I went through all of this trouble and no one saw it. So here it is. Someone needs to see it. I'm proud of her. But anyway, I'm flying home later today. My flight leaves at 3, so I'll probably get to I want to get to the airport at like 1, which I don't think is like ridiculously early, like 2 hours I think is like pretty normal. I don't understand those people who film like TikToks being like, my flight's in 30 minutes and like I haven't even packed yet. Like, I'm sure half of them are fake, but like, you are giving me secondhand anxiety, friend. I was raised to get to the airport like 2 weeks before the flight. Like, what do you mean? It's like 10:15ish right now, so I do still have some time to kill before I would even head over to the airport. So I'm gonna just take a little walk around downtown, maybe do like a tiny bit of sightseeing or just explore the area a little bit while I'm still here. Might as well. And again, like, I like that this audition was like kind of a little adventure. I might not have otherwise had a reason to come to Indianapolis, but I'm here, so I'm gonna try to see a little bit of it. Like, I might not always get to do that. I also don't know if this is about to be a new trend of me having to now start traveling for singing things, which is crazy. Actually, this whole trip, as kind of hectic as it's been, this whole time I felt like I was like a super cool, like, jet-setting fancy opera singer instead of just like a sewer rat. Listen, I am a native New Yorker. My birth certificate says City of New York on it. I am a proud sewer rat. But today and yesterday, I felt like a fancy sewer rat, like a sewer raccoon. I don't know. What's an upgrade from being a sewer rat? Thankfully, I do get a little bit of a break this week. I only have one audition, but that audition is also not in New York. It's in Pittsburgh. I'm a finalist in the Pittsburgh Festival Opera Mildred Miller competition, so was not expecting that to happen, and then it did. Fun fact, actually, when that notification came through, I had like an hour and a half, 2 hours where I had set aside before work, where I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna, you know, do all of my packing and get organized for this trip that I am on right now. Then that notification came in, and so I like literally was sitting there shaking for like 10-15 minutes, and then I was like, okay, I need to just get my brain screwed back on because I now have to turbo book travel, and like, so packing did not get done that day. I actually was supposed to have a different audition on that, like the same day as the finals in New York. I mean, well, the company is in New York, but not in New York City. The audition was in New York City, whatever. That company had actually rejected me like 3 times before. I finally made it past the pre-screen, only to have to cancel it, which feels insane. Auditioning, like canceling auditions feels insane, especially with how hard it is to get these auditions, to send an email being like, hi, I can't do this audition now because I'm doing this thing. It breaks my brain. Like, it's a good thing, but like, what? When I got my Des Moines contract, I canceled, I think, 4 auditions in the wake of that. And I remember sitting there being like, did I just do that? Like, I know that this is a thing that happens, but it wasn't a thing that happened to me. But anyway, so we are going to Pittsburgh next weekend. I'm not flying there. I am Amtrakking there. Pittsburgh is like just within Amtrak radius of New York. Amtrak was a lot cheaper than flying. They also have extremely generous baggage policy, so we will not have the liquid issue again. I think you can check bags on Amtrak, but the only time you'd have to check a bag on Amtrak is if you're like fully taking a canoe, and then I think they'd still let you bring that as like a carry-on, you know? But yeah, for right now, I'm gonna just unplug all of my chargers, do like one final sweep of the room to make sure I'm not forgetting anything, and then I'm gonna see if I could do a little walk, a little sightseeing before I fly back to New York. Also, update, I fixed my shoelace, I tied it back to itself. So I'm wearing Converse. Apparently, I've come to the motherland.